right, Scott, are we all set?
Yes, sir. We are ready.
Very good. All right. Welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the Burlington City Council. Today is February 16th, 2021, just 2 days after Burlington's 128th birthday. So happy birthday, Burlington. I'd like to welcome you to our Zoom City Council meeting, again, due to the continuing coronavirus pandemic. This meeting is being held via the Zoom platform and is being live streamed on the City of Burlington's YouTube page, www.youtube.com/COBNC. And please note this meeting is being recorded. For tonight's public comments or to address the City Council at the appropriate time, you can indicate that you wish to do so using the raise hand feature in your Zoom window, or *9 if you're joining us via phone. That will alert our staff that you wish to speak and you'll be called on again at the appropriate time. As a preliminary matter, I am Mayor Ian Baltutis, and I'd like to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on this agenda are present and can hear me. Members present when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mayor Pro Tem Kathy Hikes.
Here.
Councilmember Jim Butler.
Here.
Councilmember Bob Ward.
Here.
Councilmember Harold Owen.
Here.
Staff participants and presenters, when I call on your name, please respond in the affirmative. City Manager Hardin Watkins.
Here.
City Attorney David Huffman.
Here.
Interim City Clerk Beverly Smith.
I am here.
Assistant City Manager Nolan Kirkman.
Here.
Assistant City Manager Rachel Kelly.
Here.
Director of Planning and Transportation Mike Nunn.
Here.
Community Engagement Manager Morgan Lassiter.
Here.
Public Information Specialist John Vernon.
Here.
Economic Development Director Peter Bishop.
Present. Thank you.
Very good. For tonight's invocation, we'll call on Mayor Pro Tem Kathy Hikes.
Our heads. Lord, sometimes there are so many things to pray about that we don't know where to begin. So we will start with blessings and gratitude, because sometimes we have to look deeper in the midst of hardships to find them. We are grateful for trees and grass and shrubs that soak up the drenching rains we have had these many weeks. We thank you for the snow we missed and the power failures that reminded us how dependent we are for light and heat, and how blessed we feel when we realize our luck to have it on again. We are grateful for city employees who take pride in their work while cleaning up broken trees and other storm debris. We are grateful for the police directing traffic through our many signaled intersections where lights went out. We thank you for our health, recognizing more consciously in this era how fragile it can be. We are grateful for our citizens who are taking care of themselves and others by following the guidelines that have helped reduce the number of infections that we see. We pray for the hungry and the homeless or those threatened by it, and all people suffering from the effects of the pandemic. We ask your blessing on those who suffer from COVID or flu, and all those who are caring for them. We pray for the citizen members we will appoint tonight to help guide our city in making justice for all a reality. We ask your blessing on all of our employees and on this council, that we may find the wisdom we need to make the best decisions that we can. In all humility, we ask for your help. Amen.
This time we recognize our Interim City Clerk, Beverly Smith.
Members of council, it is my responsibility to remind you of your duty to avoid conflicts of interest. I ask if there are any potential conflicts concerning tonight's agenda items.
None.
Next, we have our approval of minutes before council. Our minutes from our January 4th, 2021 work session and our January 5th, 2021 City Council meeting. Do I hear a motion and second to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Ward, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hikes. Any questions regarding the motion? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes for myself, Mayor Pro Tem Kathy Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. Next is the adoption of the agenda. The agenda is before council. Do I hear a motion and second to adopt the agenda?
Move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve agenda from Councilmember Butler, seconded by Councilmember Owen. Any questions regarding the motion to adopt the agenda? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes for myself, Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. Next is the consent agenda. These items are typically non-controversial. If anyone has any questions about them, please let us know. Item A, to approve a banking resolution authorizing an investment account with American National Bank and authorize the city clerk to attest the resolution, as well as authorize city manager and director of finance and risk management and the accounting treasury manager as signers on the investment and checking accounts. Item B, to approve budget amendment 2021-23 for the Burlington Downtown Corporation to purchase downtown lighting and decor to provide year-round improvements throughout the municipal services district. Do I hear a motion to approve the foregoing consent agenda items?
Move we approve the foregoing consent agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve for Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, seconded by Council Member Ward. Any questions regarding the motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes for myself, Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. Next, we have two public hearings scheduled for this evening. Public hearing number 1, a public hearing has been scheduled to consider an application to rezone from MDR, Medium Density Residential District, to CI, Conditional Industrial District, for the use of a cemetery. The property is located at the north side of Hanford Road and North Old Coach Road, and being a portion of Alamance County Tax Identification Number 131303. This time we recognize City Attorney David Huffman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you are aware, during the course of the last week, Lawson Brown, who represents the petitioner in this matter, has consented to a continuance of this matter on behalf of Tom Terrell of the Guilford County Bar, who represents several neighboring property owners to the subject property. And they have joined together and requested the City Council to continue this matter to the March 16, 2021 City Council meeting. That is a joint request on behalf of both of them.
Very good. Council members, any questions regarding the request? Otherwise, do I hear a motion from council to continue the public hearing to March 16th, 2021?
I'd make a motion that we continue the matter before us to March 16th, 2021.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion to continue this item to March 16th, 2021 from Councilmember Butler, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hikes. Any questions regarding the motion to continue? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes for myself, Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. Thank you very much. All right. We will move on to public hearing number 2.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, please, on this one, before you call this matter for hearing, I'd want to take would like to make a motion to continue this public hearing to the March 16th City Council meeting. During the past weekend, as I reviewed some of the staff materials which we received, I have some additional questions and would like to ask city staff to address those issues in the next few weeks. I would also like to go back and review notes and staff materials on the original 2018 conditional zoning request. I've spoken to several council members today, and I believe they are in agreement to this, to hold this over for 30 days. Accordingly, I move that this public hearing be continued to March 16th, 2021.
And just to clarify, you're referring to the public hearing number 2 for the Shamrock property.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Do I hear a
Mayor, I'd
second?
like to second that. I have some questions as well. So,
Sure. All right. Any questions regarding the motion to continue this item to March 16th, 2021? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes for myself, Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. Staff, any additional items on these public hearings before we move on? All right. Next, we'll move on to our new business. Item number 3, City Council will consider approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Burlington and the Burlington Alamance Regional Airport Authority, establishing a formal appropriation to support operations and adopting a framework for the city and airport to partner on aerospace economic development projects. This time I'd like to recognize our Economic Development Director, Peter Bishop.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Mr. Mayor provided a great description and summary of what this item is about. The Burlington Alamance Airport, starting from a grass strip in the 1930s, has grown significantly since then. And in 1969 was created by the legislature to be a body politic in itself and an authority with the cooperation of the City of Burlington and Alamance County. So we have a jointly appointed board there and a really great economic development partner and engine in the airport. What staff was looking to do with this proposal was to memorialize what is a great relationship with our airport in providing that public transportation service. We have been providing funding in a myriad of ways to the airport, be it loans, grant matches, direct appropriations, or other assistance with infrastructure. And recently, we've been working even closer with the airport since the addition of our economic development office to recruit additional companies to work on expanding assets out there to bring more taxable assets to the city using their facilities. And we've also expanded infrastructure with water and sewer service to serve some of the different hangars that are out there. So we've been getting closer in our relationship and working much closer with the executive director there, Dan Daniely, and his board. And what this item does is it does memorialize and formalize our appropriations process. It identifies ways that we can cooperate to recruit economic development aerospace clients. It provides a path forward to work individually on development projects that can bring more taxable assets like aircraft or based operations to the airport, and really provides that runway, if you'll apologize the pun, for us to work closer and longer together on different projects as we move forward and the airport continues to develop. Well, Dan Daniely is present and can possibly speak to any questions directly about the airport. And I'm certainly ready to answer any questions that council members may have about this item.
Very good. Thank you, Peter. Dan, would you like to add anything?
Well, I want to thank you all for your great support, and it's been a great relationship all along all these years. We're very excited. We have several opportunities. Some things have just happened just recently. We have a new jet on the field in the last month. And it's an $11 million airplane. Guys, the taxes on that's over $66,000 per year. We're negotiating with someone else right now for a $61 million aircraft. The city will pick up $364,000 a year if that airplane arrives. So we're excited about those type of opportunities, along with some businesses that will bring in some jobs to the community as well. So can't thank you enough for your great support and for Peter and his hard work and what we're doing for our community. Any questions of me?
Dan, where do we stand at on hangars? So are we at capacity?
We are totally full. We built a large 12,000 square foot hangar maybe 18 months ago. We are now getting ready to build a set of T hangars. There'll be 2 structures. The first structure will have 10 units in it. The other structure will have 8 units in it. And where we are right now on that is, in fact, Thursday, a drilling rig will come out and do subsurface investigations on the site to help the engineers design the site work for the hangars. So we hope to have them built by early fall. And we already have a waiting list for, these will be small aircraft, but we do have the waiting list for filling up all 18 of those units. And hopefully we'll be building some more next year. We are looking now at some plans for at least one more 12,000 square foot hangar. And with a particular business I'm working with that we may or may not bring this in, but a 30,000 square foot hangar. So great opportunities. We get calls every day for hangar space, and we do not have what we need. So we're excited about getting some more up very soon.
And Mayor Pro Tem Hikes.
Yes, I have a question about something that's in the memorandum of understanding, it states that there are more than 1,000 employees with the airport. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Go ahead, Andy.
The ITRI at NC State University, they just had a study done. They do that every other year for airports in North Carolina. The Institute of Transportation Research and Education, ITRI. And so, and I will forward that to you all if you would like. But in that study, it shows the number of jobs tied to what's going on to the airport. So, for example, it could be pilots that work for another company that are associated with the owners of airplanes. It could be the businesses associated with the airplanes and the business they're doing. An example, if I could, there's LabCorp with 31 employees in their aviation department right now, advertising for 5 more seats right now for them. We have 150 people who come to work at the airport every day. They work for different businesses. Think of the airport sort of like you would a shopping mall or a business mall. There are only 2 employees of the airport authority, but then we have the many businesses with their own employees. And so that's kind of the way it's lined up. But ITRI did that study that shows 1,065 employees affiliated with what's going on at the airport, $172 million economic contribution annually, 6.2 million in state and local taxes being paid out annually, and 49.4 million in salaries to that 1,000 employees. So a lot going on.
Dan, with the extension of the utilities to the into the south side of the airport,
Yes.
across the runways there, how much more space do you have for construction of hangars?
We with these 18 units I'm talking about, we can build those. We can build, if we stay with a smaller single engine aircraft size hangars like I'm talking about right now, we could do probably 5 more of those structures, so about 50 more of those spaces. If we use those spaces for larger hangars, we could put in about 5 of the larger hangars. We also have a spot over on the side of the airport close to the new church though on Alamance Road we're looking at. And then of course the 60 acres of property that we have bought that begins there at the stoplight at Grandover and Alamance Road. So we now own property from the stoplight at Grandover and Alamance Road all the way to the runway. So once we fill up with what we have now, then we go to that section and we begin a whole new building there as well. So not to replace anything we have, but to just begin adding in that area as well.
And what will it take to get the planes to that site, Dan? I mean, in terms of hangars, how would that just be?
You mean logistically?
Yeah.
Oh no, that probably goes all the way down to the runway.
Okay, so it connects back there. Okay,
we have a corridor all the way through. So yes, we own in fee simple. We own from the stoplight to the existing runway.
So technically, it comes in there behind Honda then, Honda Jet.
This property was, say you start at the stoplight there at Grandover and Alamance, and we can build a road right there that goes right through and crosses that little Rock Lane Drive. So we own properties on both sides of that Rock Lane Drive all the way back to the airport.
Okay.
So again, there's 60 acres there ready to develop. We have some neighbors wanting to sell a little more land there, so we'll pick up a few more acres, but that gives us many more years of opportunity to develop that property. Room to grow.
You know, I think the vision that the airport has had as aviation in our area has continued to grow has been really sort of spot on. A lot of good things happened to sort of set that in motion, and it took a lot of cooperation and collaboration from a lot of entities to put that in place. But, you know, if you think about what the airport does for the city of Burlington, not only is it located in our Carolina corridor, our main area for industrial development, as we've identified in our comprehensive plan. But think about the tax base numbers. He kind of glazed over that. Think about the tax base numbers that having a facility that people want to house their aircraft and the ties to our airport through those businesses and those entities, that's significant. And I do believe that as we continue to move forward and evolve, and as our budgets, we're getting ready to be in budget time now, I think it's important that we sort of walk lockstep with the airport on some of the things that they're looking at from a visionary standpoint to be sure that we can support it however we want to, because it is such a win-win for everyone involved, and it's going to have a significant impact on that area out there by far.
A question for Peter related to the MOU. I know we've been able to compete, as Jim kind of alluded to in the past, with Honda and other projects on being able to be nimble and creative. Is this MOU going to continue to allow us to kind of move forward in that manner?
Yeah, we believe it does, and it provides the basis for us to build off of existing agreements and partnerships and go that next step for a specific expansion project, and to really look at the tools in our toolbox to work together on recruiting something that can bring a significant asset and significant jobs to the community. So yes.
Okay, great.
May I ask you one more question, Peter? On page 2 of this memorandum of whatever it is, MOU, on page 2, it says the city of Burlington stipulates that they may partner in aerospace economic development recruitment activities, including but limited to site visits. Do you?
Oh, yes, that's a mistake. That needs to say not limited to.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Yes.
It's repeated again when it talks about what the BAA will do as well.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Hikes. We will make that correction.
And following up with that, nothing would give me greater pleasure than to give you all tours and show you around the entire campus and meet people and see some of the businesses that are there. So please feel free to call on me to set up some tours.
It's a lot to show off. As a private pilot who uses that airport, there's always activity every time I go over there to fly.
So Mayor, I'll just clarify for our record. So we're gonna an edit on 2A on page 2 that say but not limited, and then on page 3, section 3A to say including but not limited.
All right, any other council questions? Otherwise, do I hear a motion to approve the MOU with those modifications?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor to approve with modifications, motion to approve with modifications from Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, seconded by Councilmember Butler. Any questions regarding the motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes from myself, Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. To Peter and Dan, thank you for your continued work on economic development in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
With that, we'll move on to item 4 on our agenda. City Council will discuss appointments to the 2021 Community Police Advisory Team, or CPAT. This time, I'd like to recognize our Community Engagement Manager, Morgan Lassiter. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you. Good evening. So this evening, we're going to bring before you the proposed slate for the first ever Community Police Advisory Team. As you know, we advertised for this new board and commission during the month of December in 2020 and received applications in July 1. There were a total of 55 applications received, which was a great response rate. We were very pleased with that response rate. And then the council received those applicant packets in January on the 15th. So you've had the opportunity to look over that, and then we were able to compile that and give you guys a proposed slate in early February. So as you know, there were 17 criteria outlined in the CPAT charter that we worked to fill. So tonight, what we're seeing in this proposed slate is 16 applicants that are representing those specific criteria that the charter had outlined. I do want to note that there will be a second round of applicants. As we discussed, there was some gaps in what we were seeing in representation in the applications, so we've reopened that. So we are currently advertising for judicial representation for educators, not just ABSS, but educators in general, as well as youth under the age of 18. So what you're seeing tonight is that proposed slate of those first 16 applicants, with the knowledge that we will then have round 2 where we appoint the remaining 4 seats. So I'll open it up for any questions or discussion that council would have with us on the proposed slate for CPAT.
Thank you, Morgan. Any questions from council?
First, I'd like to thank Morgan and John. I've talked to them individually. They really have done some outstanding work. It made our job considerably easier, you might say, because, selecting boards and commissions is a pretty daunting task from time to time, but they've really done an outstanding job to help us and what we need to do. The first thing. The second thing is I think we got a list of outstanding candidates. And looking forward to, filling out the CPAT board, in the near future. So I'm really well pleased with the candidates we have, and that's pretty much all I want to say. And it'd be good if we could move forward.
Very good. Other questions or comments from council members?
Morgan, John, what is the policy in reference to staggering terms, since everybody's coming on at one time, in terms of length of terms, to try to be able to do some rotation if needed going forward?
Sure, yeah. So when we looked at our applicants, we were able to assign terms to those applicant seats that you've seen in the chart that we sent you. And so those were based off of really kind of the amount of council support that applicants were getting. And our goal is to, obviously, John and I would love to see this align with our regular boards and commission appointments, so that we're not doing CPAT separately. So that first, and we've kind of discussed this with Chief Smythe and with Rachel and with Hardin, we're kind of thinking through that, but we may see that, that 1 year is really a little bit longer to kind of get us back on a schedule, is what our thought is.
Thank you.
Sure.
That makes.
And that chart is available in the agenda packet, indicating the 1, 2, and 3 year seats.
Yes.
Any other council questions regarding this? Do I hear a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint the list that we have at this time to, start the membership of the CPAT.
Very good. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion to approve the current slate for CPAT by Councilmember Ward, seconded by Councilmember Butler. Any questions regarding the motion to approve the nominations? All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed with votes to myself, Mayor Pro Tem Hikes, and council members Ward, Butler, and Owen. To Morgan and John, thank you again for your work on this. And as Councilmember Ward put it, the process that you created with the rubrics and the information on the candidates was incredibly helpful. And I think even the rubric of what skill set the board was looking for, I think made all of our jobs a lot easier. And council members, I know we're coming up on our next boards and commissions appointments in the spring. And I think it'd be helpful if we took some of these characteristics of the process and brought them forward with staff support, so that we might better understand the needs of our boards and commissions in the spring, and have some nice, clean, helpful rubrics to give us an idea of the candidates who have applied. So. Yeah.
Mayor, I also like to mention there were some really outstanding candidates that did not, it's not on this board at this time, that we certainly appreciate their application, and hopefully they will continue to have interest in this particular board or other boards in the city. I had phone conversations with a number of these people, and They're very impressive individuals who I think wants to give back to our community.
Definitely. Hope they put in applications for our other boards and commissions in this next cycle. So, we actually have a number of current vacancies that have come open on some of our boards that we may have the opportunity to fill soon. All right. Any other questions on that agenda item? All right. Again, thank you, John. Thank you, Morgan. That concludes our regular agenda items this evening. This moves us to our public comment period. This is the open public comment period. Folks could submit written comments until 5 p.m. today using the public comments at burlingtonnc.gov email address. It's always available if you wish to submit public comments. And now is the opportunity, if you're joining us, to submit a public comment regarding an item not on the agenda. And you can do so using the raise hand feature in your Zoom window or *9 if you're joining us via phone. So we'll take just a moment to allow folks to indicate with a hand raise using Zoom or a *9 on your phone. It looks like Pastor Greg Hargrave.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, if you could just state your name and address for the public record.
Thank you. My name is Greg Hargrave, 717 Cannonade Drive in Whitsett, North Carolina. Mr. Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and the council members, city manager and the city staff, thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. One of the reasons that I'm speaking is again to lend support to the Apple Ridge project. In the last work session, I understood that you can't speak in the work sessions themselves. So that's why we're speaking tonight ahead of the next work session. I do understand that you're vetting other organizations for the CDBG money, which is great. I just did not want the Apple Ridge project to be lost in the midst of that at all. And I'm just here tonight to again talk a little bit about that. We have completed 6 homes. We have injected right at $1 million into the Burlington economy with the soft costs that we had, et cetera. And the amount that we're asking for is less than 1/2 of what the actual infrastructure is going to cost. We also, our engineer let me know today that not only will we be able to build 12 additional single family homes, but we will also be able to build 10 townhomes because the infrastructure at where it's located, we should be able to connect there as well. So basically, I'm just lending that support. I in terms of not being able to speak again in the work session, just wanted to get ahead of that and would ask that you continue to consider the Apple Ridge project when you are in your next work session. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. All right, if anyone else wishes to speak during this open public comment, you can again press the raise hand button on your Zoom window or *9 if you're joining us via phone. Take just another moment to let folks join in. If for any reason you are having technical connection difficulties, you can always contact John Vernon. He is ready and waiting for you at 336-513-5440. And while we're waiting, I'll turn to our interim city clerk, Beverly Smith, for email comments.
We did have public comments submitted by email. There were 2 that were submitted and they were provided to City Council and City Manager and City Attorney. We'll also provide those to City staff. The first comment was Brandon Hester of 1621 St. Andrew Drive in Mebane, North Carolina. And his comments were in support of funding for the Apple Ridge project. The other comment was submitted by Pastor Larry E. Covington of Ebenezer United Church of Christ, 734 Apple Street in Burlington, regarding support to the Curry Homes development and constructing quality homes in the Apple Ridge subdivision.
Very good. Thank you, Clerk. All right, last chance for anyone joining us to use the raise hand feature or *9 for public comment. All right, it looks like that will conclude our public comments this evening. And at this time, it's city council comments. So council members, any additional comments, questions? Tips on other great food trucks in the area? I would like to extend a couple thank yous out to our community. One, for all those who came out and supported the City Park Blood Drive this past week. We appreciate folks supporting that effort in our city park. And then also, I had the opportunity to visit First Baptist over on Apple Street this past week. They were doing their first COVID vaccine event. They were able to give out 100 of the Moderna vaccines to folks in the community. They've also been doing some testing at their annex building over there. Great operation as they look to help be a partner along with all the other organizations that are setting up testing and vaccine drives all across Alamance County. We had Burlington police officers there helping direct traffic. Really well-run event, cooperation of the church, City of Burlington, and Cone Health. And I also learned that they are one of the first churches to have a nurse in residence program. That's a grant that I believe they received through Cone Health. So they have a nurse who's specifically assigned to the congregation and is tasked with helping increase equity in healthcare services through religious congregations. So it's exciting to know that that's in effect in our community. So great leadership from the congregation there. And then, as we already talked about, boards and commissions applications are coming back around this spring. So if you are interested in serving on any of our many boards and commissions and providing your service to our city, we encourage you to fill out that form. It's always available on the city website. You can look up boards and commissions to learn a little more about all of the different boards and commissions that are available in our city and submit your application. Council members, any other items for council comment? Very good. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye and indicate with a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your evening, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Night to all. Stay safe.
Here, guys.
Good night.
Night.
Night.